Welcome back to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy, and today we're going to tell you about Doug Benefield.
Don't forget to smash that like button and go and check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and Facebook. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends. Welcome back, everybody.
Look who we found.
We got Haley.
Now you get to see her face.
Hey,
It's just her copy and pasted.
Yeah.
so just real quick, we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors
Yes, yes.
and to everybody who contributed
Yes, yes.
to our podcast.
Yes.
Without you, it's not possible.
100%. 100%.
All right.
And all the comments are great.
Yes, we try to answer as many comments as we can just to keep a connection with everybody. If we miss some, we'll get to them. Just give us some time.
Yeah.
But
We
anyway,
appreciate them.
on with the show.
All right. We've introduced Miss Haley.
Speaking of the comments, I like the ones that say "Bring back Haley."
Of course you do.
That's because it's your Nana.
My biggest fan.
Heyo. All right. Man, oh man.
All right. So what are we doing today?
Doug Benefield.
Doug? Benefield.
Yeah, so this is another high-profile case that ran alongside Sarah Boone's trial. This is also a trigger warning case. All probably are, but we'll be discussing domestic violence, animal cruelty, and accusations of child abuse and sexual assault. No big details, but it will be brought up, so safety first, as always.
Yep. So if you can't handle it,
We'll see
sorry,
you next
guys.
time.
We'll see you on the next one.
100% understandable. And I'll tell you up front that this is a case where Ashley Benefield shot her estranged husband, Doug. That was never questioned. So as you listen, you'll be deciding if you think she was justified in doing that. Nobody's perfect, so you're going to hear good and bad from both sides. And people are very split on this case, so feel free to leave your opinion below. And we're adults here, so there's no reason that we can't agree to disagree. And we like to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely.
Now, Doug was born in California in 1961. He graduated from Texas A&M University in 1994 with a degree in biology. He was a member of the Aggie Cowboys fraternity and was big into creating art. He painted murals and designed company logos. He went to be a flight officer in the Navy for 3 years and then into naval intelligence until he retired in 1999 as lieutenant commander. During that time, he did marry his first wife, but that only lasted for 6 months. Once he retired, he founded, owned, and operated a restaurant in Charleston, South Carolina, while he was also doing security and communication technology work for the government.
Man, you want to talk about a busy man.
Right.
He was doing everything, all the stuff.
Yeah.
He did find time for love, though. In 1999, he married Renee, who would be referred to as the love of his life. She had 2 sons from a previous marriage, so Doug moved in with them, and all was well. In 2001, they had a daughter together named Eva. It would be when Eva was 14, while Doug was traveling for work, that Eva came home from school and couldn't get into the house. She went around the house looking in and saw her mom. A neighbor had to get into the house for her, and they found out that Renee had passed away from an undiagnosed heart condition.
So that just came out of nowhere.
Yes.
That's tough, especially for a small child.
14. That's a really, really tough age.
Yeah.
It was very sudden, too, to lose somebody so suddenly. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Eva has done a 6 or 7 part series on, I believe it was TikTok, about all of this case, and she refers to this specific incident as the start of a lot of trauma. So that's understandable. Doug was a Christian, so he relied on his faith to help him be a single father. He was up at 5:30 in the morning studying scripture, and he would send Eva Bible verses every morning to start her day. He was active, working on his fitness. He told Eva that he would not remarry, but we all know that can change. His obituary says that he was widely recognized as a quantum physics expert and futuristic technologies creator. So smart. I'm like, I ate cereal this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Like, wow. He was also active in politics. And it was August 25th of 2016, so almost 9 months after Renee's passing, that Doug was in Palm Beach at Ben Carson's house. And this was after his campaign. And Doug met Ashley Byers. Now, Ashley was born in Texas in 1991.
Wait, wasn't he born like in 61?
Yeah. Yes. So there's a 30-year age gap.
All right, go and get it. I mean, if that's your thing, go.
Yeah. Well,
Not to be hateful, but she might have been digging.
I mean, there's some speculation there. Now, Ashley started dancing when she was just 8 years old in Maryland. She was an only child, and she went to online schooling her senior year of high school so that she could dance full time. She graduated from the Maryland Youth Ballet Program and did some performances along the East Coast. But in July of 2012, she married a fellow dancer. Now, they would get divorced in August of 2014. And it was a few months later that she tore her hamstring and retired from dancing. But all was not lost. She became a lingerie and swimsuit model. In 2015, she was at a campaign event when she caught Trump's eye. According to her journal, he offered her a job on the spot. She worked on campaigns, so she was at rallies, she was sleeping at Mar-a-Lago, and was flying around on his plane. Now, this might be a good time to mention that this is not a political channel, so don't lose focus here. Doug was a smitten kitten. She was good looking, a model, she loved God, politics, and she had a gun in her purse along with one in her bra. So
She was strapped.
she was the perfect woman
You
for him.
never know when something's going to pop off.
You got to be ready.
Yep.
Now, just 2 days after they met, Doug went to Israel for work for about a week. They called and texted while he was gone. Now, after 4 days, there were I love yous being thrown all over the place. On September 7th, he flew her to South Carolina and proposed. His ordained best friend married them. So if you're keeping a timeline, it was 13 days after they literally found out about each other's existence. And they're like, let's get married. But then throw in the fact that they only really communicated by text this whole time because he was in a whole nother country. So it just kind of, Haley, don't look at me like that.
I'm sorry. I just realized that I watched Ava's whole story. It was like 2 years ago she did all this, right?
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing.
Did
She's
you?
funny. Yeah.
She is a
funny.
very, very lovely
Mhm.
lady. So not only that, but that means that they got married the second time they met in person.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, break that down. And before you say, well, if you know, you know, let me finish the story. Some speculate that they did this so quickly because of Doug's religious beliefs, the no sex before marriage thing. And don't forget about Eva. She testified that Doug came into her room and said they needed to have a little conversation, all three of them. And Eva told him that the only time she would need to have a conversation was when he was planning on proposing. And that's when he told her they were already married. So,
Well, that could have been handled better.
yeah, he's like, oh, surprise.
Doug works quick.
Doug's
Knows what
fast.
he wants.
I mean, look at all the stuff he's already done. He's just
Uh-huh.
like, on to the next. And it definitely could have been handled a better way, for sure. Eva had just experienced like the most traumatic event of her life. And then without warning, her dad marries someone that is only 9 years older than her. Hell, she was younger than Eva's half-brothers from her mom's previous marriage. And she would say that Ashley was nice at first. But she started twisting Eva's words and like telling Doug to get her in trouble. And then she would read Eva's diary and tell him, I mean, she was just doing
Oh
things
my
like
goodness.
that. Yeah, like a jealous best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So about a month after they got married, Ashley was going on a cruise with her mom, and they had already had that booked, so it was already happening. But Ashley wanted her friend to come too, so Doug paid for the friend to go. Now during this cruise, Doug and Ashley were back to communicating by text and phone calls, mostly text. Her defense attorney, Neil Taylor, read only Doug's texts from this time out loud in the courtroom, where he was saying things like being in a murderous rage and talking about extermination. Now, prosecutor Suzanne O'Donnell has Ashley herself read the full text exchanges, to maybe show some context. And these are texts. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. These are texts. I meant to say it like that. So Doug is basing everything off what Ashley is saying to him. It's not like he's there with her and they're having a conversation. So He's basically responding to a situation she's telling him about. And she had apparently told him that she was outside of a bar or a restaurant and people were arguing next to where she was. He said the thought of someone just arguing that close to her was enough to send him into a murderous rage. Now, they were trying to make it seem like, oh, he's talking about being in a murderous rage. But she took this, even at the time, as him being protective and said that it was flattering. And the extermination part to me sounded like he was on a work trip and was talking about the bad guys in the area that he was in. Even her lawyer was like, or the prosecutor was like, where was he? And she was like, oh, I don't know. And she was like, he wasn't at work. And she was like, I don't think so. I think he was at home in Charleston. Okay. She said that she believed, like I said, that he was in Charleston. The defense also skipped over the part where she was talking about being jealous of his relationship with his now deceased former wife. She had never even met her.
I mean, you can't just read out one side of the text chain.
No, context is important, but can we talk about the jealousy of the dead wife?
Yes.
She passed.
Yes, but her lawyer left that part out conveniently. And so you're only getting one side of a story. But Ashley said that this was around the time that things started to go south. After the cruise, Doug started criticizing her hair, criticizing her makeup, what she wore, everything about her. He would fly into fits of rage, but also wanted to make her dreams come true. She wanted to start up a ballet in Charleston, one that was all-inclusive. So all body types, all heights, all nationalities. And it sounds great. Doug starts pulling in funds. He's got his own money. He's got money from donors that he brought in through his business contacts. And Ashley says that her mom even contributed. But Ashley did admit that she did not fund any of this. None of her money went into her dream. But in 2017, the American National Ballet was founded. They had up to 40 dancers from all over the world that got work visas to come over and live the dream. They signed contracts and were promised things. They're not just going to come up here for nothing. At the end of June 2017, Ashley was upset. She had given Eva a shadow box for Christmas, and she had painted a seashell and put it inside. Now, Eva took the seashell out and put a rose from her mom's funeral inside the shadow box. Ashley goes to Doug, telling him that that was disrespectful, and he needed to handle Eva. She admitted that she was hysterically crying on the floor. And she said that Doug just kept telling her to stop. He was stressed about getting the ballet up and running, stressed with all the stuff going on at home. Plus, he's still working a pretty important job. And she wouldn't stop. Her version of events was that they were arguing and the dog Sully got in between them. So Doug punched him so hard that it knocked him out.
Well, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, not the dog.
Yeah, the dog. She also said that Doug came at her like he was going to hit her, so she ran for the door. He grabbed a gun and held it to his head, threatening to hurt himself and make her watch him do it. And then he fired a round off into the ceiling.
And Doug had a different story.
Oh, Doug had a different story. Yes. Now, there's been several court cases between the two, and in a deposition, Doug is asked about this incident. He says he was sitting at the table, trying to get Ashley to shut up. She wouldn't, so he picked up the gun off the table and fired it into the ceiling to get her to stop. So his version of events, he did not hold the gun to her head. He did not,
Or to his head.
Or to his head, yeah. None of that happened. So this is one of those things where you have to take away from it what you can, because they're going to be conflicting stories. And the incident with Sully, let me bring that up too. He said Sully was under the table at some point during all of this, and he tried to climb on Doug's lap because he's a protective dog. He's like family. And Doug was wearing shorts, so he was being scratched. So he's arguing with her. She's hysterically crying. He's shooting guns in the air. We only shot once. But on top of all that, this is going on. And he said he didn't realize it was a hit. He meant to push Sully off, but in his frustration, it probably came out stronger than he wanted it to. But they asked him, did you hit the dog? And he said, yes, I hit my dog. So there's no mention in the court docs that the dog lost consciousness. And there were even text messages between him and Ashley where he admitted hitting a dog, but there's no mention of the dog being knocked out there either. So does that excuse it? Absolutely not. Not 100% not. But does it make some people believe that this points to her over embellishing her events of how things happen? Probably. And she also gets a text, like in a text exchange back and forth. She says, "You threw a 13-year-old cat," because she said that he threw it against the wall and put a hole in the wall. And he doesn't deny throwing the cat. He admits that he has faults and he's been working on himself to control, his frustrations and things. Now, he doesn't mention the wall. She doesn't mention the wall. So I don't know if that was also an over embellishment or if it was just left out. He does admit to punching a hole in the wall in the house. She says he threw a loaded gun at her. It missed her, but it also put a hole in the wall. So...
Do they have guns just laying around all over the house? Or?
That's what I'm saying.
From what I can tell, yeah. Yeah, and it keeps coming up.
He's got one for every occasion.
For all occasions.
You never know.
She's got the bra gun in case they go out, You never know.
He's got the why I oughta gun just in case.
So there's an Elmer Fudd gun around there somewhere.
You wascally clever.
So a week after this, though, okay, so I want you to picture this event. She's hysterically crying. He's shooting guns. He hits the dog, all these things. A week later, they have their wedding reception.
What a good time.
Yeah.
He's like, we should still just get married, though, because
they
why not?
were already married. This was just their party.
Oh, a reception.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I see.
And she wore her wedding dress. She did wear her wedding dress. But they just had a good time with friends. Somebody who was not there was Ava. She did not want to go. The next month, so now
Can't
we're
blame her.
No.
Was she there when all of this shooting was going on? That's
No.
what I wanted. Okay.
No, they asked her on the stand if she knew what happened, and she said no, but she
Okay.
knew it was there, and the hole in the ceiling, and she knew about the holes in the walls, and had been told, but she was not there. So now we're in July, and Ashley finds out that she's pregnant. Good times. She says that this was a surprise, and wanting a baby was the last thing on her mind due to Doug's anger issues that are coming out. And the prosecutor was like, "Are you sure about that?" Because Ashley then admitted that she helped pay for Doug to get his vasectomy reversed in April. And they were having unprotected sex. So not much of a surprise at all.
At least she was taking all the precautions.
Yeah, I mean, she was trying. And
Cracking.
Some say that too. She would say that the pregnancy was rough. She was nauseous a lot more than she thought was normal for a pregnancy because this is her first, so she doesn't know what to expect. She says that her and Doug agreed that since he worked so much, it would be easier for Ashley to move to Florida to stay with her mom. Now, at the end of August, Doug's the one who took her down there. A month later, in September, Ashley and her mom came back to Charleston, loaded up the rest of her stuff, and left him a letter of why she was leaving him. The violence, the anger, the broken dishwasher, she puts it all in there. She says they entered into a mutually agreed upon injunction that would do like a no contact order, kind of. So neither one were allowed to contact each other. She did not blink twice at that ballet company. And Doug was trying to do it all. They changed leadership because he couldn't handle the ballet company. He's not a ballerina either, so he don't even know what all's needed. So they changed leadership, and because their leader fled to Florida, and the new person that ran it started firing everybody. So she fired like half the dancers right off the bat.
Good night.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. But
Is that how she comes in and
cleaning house.
I'm the boss?
Or maybe she's like, wait, we're broke. How are you paying these people?
That might be another thing.
But remember, they're under contract. So now they're all suing. Like, we got work visas. We came to this country.
Yeah.
We were promised
this.
things. Yeah. So by October, they were shut down. And then, despite the no contact order, Doug sent Ashley a tea set with exotic teas from Teavana for her birthday, since she likes to drink a lot of tea.
I drink Red Diamond sweet tea.
You do.
So fancy.
That's one of the best teas.
Yep, but no exotic teas
We're
over
not
here.
sponsored by Red Diamond, although I would take a sponsorship by Red Diamond.
Come on, Red Diamond. Come on.
What you offering, Red Diamond? But I looked at this tea.
I'm thirsty.
You, like, from here on out on the podcast, you're just drinking gallons of tea, like, in the background. Oh, my hair keeps falling on my face. Let me fix that.
How does my hair look? I said I
Nailed
would
it.
ask.
It's cute. It's cute.
Not you, them.
Oh, no matter. But so I looked up Tivana because I wanted to see what this tea looked like. And it looks really earthy. Like there's rose hips and flowers and shit in it. Like it's fancy.
And dirt.
Some of it does look like dirt.
Oh.
And they were, I guess, bought out by Starbucks, I think. So you can't even really get it anymore. But she said that when she opened the box, there was such a strong chemical smell that it gave her an instant headache. She put the box in the garage for a day or two and then took it to the sheriff's office and told them that Doug was trying to poison her. They tested it and found no poison. She sent hair samples to a lab to be tested and they found no poison. She had also went through some old electronic devices when she was in South Carolina and found one of Doug's old phones. She went through the text messages with Benefield, which is a weird way to have the love of your life in your phone. But maybe that's just me. Oh, there's the dogs on cue every time.
Yeah. She's always about midway.
Yeah.
Pugsley. That's my pug.
They're like, are you done yet? Why did I say that in an accent just because you did? I'm being influenced. But she took a picture of a text from Renee to Doug where she says that Doug kicked her really hard on their wedding night. So if you throw in that, plus the belief that she now thinks Doug is trying to poison her, this would later prompt Ashley and her mom to pull Eva aside and tell her that they think Doug had something to do with her mom's death.
Okay, hang on. Because she died of a heart condition, right?
Yes. Yes. 75% of one of her arteries was blocked from what I've seen. And she didn't have any high levels of anything in her system that might have caused that. You know what I mean? It was definitely just a thing. So this didn't go over well, but what do you do?
What do you do?
What do you do?
I'll
And
tell you
now
what
let's
you
take
do.
a quick break for a word from our sponsors. Do you live in an apartment?
Are you having to go to the laundromat to get questionable stains out of your linens? And tired of getting the side eye because of it?
We have the solution. MyLaundrySolutions.com. To be exact, the #1 choice for washer and dryer rental. Ask your leasing office or schedule online.
Servicing areas in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Springfield and Joplin, Missouri, Little Rock, Arkansas, Sherman, Dallas, Houston, and Lubbock, Texas. No credit check, free service. Your account is available online and they professionally install. Check out mylaundrysolutions.com or call 800-535-4411 today to stop airing out your dirty laundry in public.
Don't miss out on a great deal.
Yeah.
Check out My Laundry Solutions.
All right. Now, Doug knew that Ashley's due date was April 8th. So in March, he hired a lawyer to draft a letter to Ashley saying he wanted to be there for the birth of the baby. But if she didn't want him there, he respected her space. The lawyer emailed that letter at 9:59 a.m. on March 15th. Every so often, she would scan through the court docket, and she saw that on April 23rd, Ashley had filed a petition for protection for domestic violence. In this petition, she was requesting that Doug's parental rights be terminated, and the document showed the baby's name and birth date. And this is how Doug found out that his daughter had been born. She had checked herself into the hospital on March 16th, which was the day after the lawyer had emailed her that letter. And she told the hospital staff that when Doug found out that she was pregnant, he hit her and locked her in a room back in South Carolina. So they had her listed under her middle name, Christina. There was no father listed on the birth certificate, and she gave the baby her grandfather's last name. Also, this wasn't allowed to be brought up in court, but after the baby was born, Ashley and the baby spent 26 consecutive days for a total of 40 hours in a hyperbaric chamber to detox their bodies of all those heavy metals that she believed Doug had been poisoning them with.
Wow.
Hang on. They let her put her baby in a hyperbaric chamber?
They did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah.
I'm baffled. Sorry.
I've got a picture of it.
Oh
I'm
my
just saying, you
gosh.
can find pictures online. So, with the injunction in South Carolina reaching its 6-month expiration, she had to file a new one in Florida. The judge looked at the domestic violence allegations and the poisoning allegations, and saw that neither could be proven after they were investigated. She said there was no scintilla of proof to back any of it up. She also mentioned that Ashley was able to turn on the tears when she wanted to. Now, at her criminal trial, we would find out that the doctor did confirm that she had been diagnosed with histrionic personality disorder, which kind of fits. That's someone who seeks attention, talks dramatically, has rapid changing emotions, and they exaggerate everything. But the judge gave Doug visitation because there was nothing to prove any of what she was saying. A couple of days later, Doug and his lawyer met Ashley at the sheriff's office for drop-off. Ashley got out of the car asking, "Are you dating her?" Talking about his lawyer. Why should she care?
Honestly.
But she strapped the car seat into Doug's truck and all three of them left for visitation.
So Ashley went with them?
Yeah.
All right.
Why should Doug get to see the baby by himself? This started a time of peace for some reason. Doug had got, why do I want to say Ava? Doug had got Eva an apartment in South Carolina, and he was renting an apartment in Florida to be closer to the baby and Ashley. Now, within a week of the first visit, Doug and Ashley signed a document to extend his allowed time with the baby. His lawyer pointed out that they were in publications like Vanity Fair because they were going to events, just Doug and Ashley. And they were trying to make it work, apparently. She says that he told her that he was moving in with her and her mom. He didn't ask. He told her. And they even set a date for him to move in. So prosecution's like, well, why are you allowing this? If you don't want him there, why are you going along with it? But she said that she was just doing it to appease. That's her big thing. But Ashley ghosted him on moving day. So the date that they set for him to move in, she stopped answering her phone. She wouldn't let him in the house. She just completely ghosted him. So it never happened, and we're back to things being rocky again. In August of 2019, allegedly Ashley showed up to drop off their daughter and was wearing an engagement ring. Now she denies this at trial, saying that she wears a lot of rings, and this one was not an engagement ring, but she did admit on the stand that she had been dating a man named Dennis. But this prompted Doug to actually file for a divorce now and hire a private investigator because she's still married to him, and that means that this would be an affair. And then Ashley started filing a number of complaints on her own. And some speculate that the timing of this means those were more in retaliation.
Yeah, the timing's suspicious.
It's very suspicious. She says she came home one night and Doug was standing in her driveway but ran off. A neighbor said a man was in her backyard trying to look across at Ashley's windows. Now, I had a problem with this one because in my mind, this would be the next door neighbor, right? If he's standing in her yard trying to see in Ashley's windows, she'd have to live next door. This lady lived across the street. So she said Doug was standing in her backyard across the street trying to look over into Ashley's windows.
What did he have, binoculars?
No, but it didn't make sense. She did say it was too dark to see who it was, and he was wearing a baseball hat, but he did say that he lived in the area. So Ashley pulled out her phone and played something of Doug talking, like a text, like a video she had, or maybe a voicemail. And the woman said, "That's the voice. That's the guy."
Really?
Yeah, that's him. 100%.
Did she put up cameras to try to have some kind of, hard evidence against him?
Like actual evidence?
Something?
No, I haven't seen anything saying she ever had cameras installed, which would be the first thing I would do. If I'm getting stalked by my ex,
yeah.
Cameras are priority.
Also, what happened to the protective order?
Oh, they're still under no contact.
And she went to all these events with him and everything?
Oh yeah, they're doing all the things.
Okay.
But there was a text from Doug showing that he had put Eva's tracker on Ashley's car in the past. So she did take the car to a dealership, but they couldn't find one. Now she does file a report. She files a report every time something happens to document it. So she is doing that, which is very important for you to do if you're in this situation. She also went to her daughter's pediatrician and showed her a video of the toddler's behavior. Now, as a mandatory reporter, the doctor contacted CPS and told Ashley she needed to do that as well. Ashley denied being the one who actually told the doctor that she suspected abuse. when she was on Doug's visitation. She says, oh no, I just literally showed her a video and she was like, oh, that's abuse. So I have to report it.
What?
Yes. But this is suspected physical and sexual abuse. So now we've gone into this realm. They did go through mediation and they both had to have psychological evaluations done, and those are all still pending at this time. Detective Gullum, the domestic violence investigator, testified that Ashley called him about twice a week asking if Doug was going to be arrested yet. He ended up deciding to transfer the case to the state attorney's office, which that caused her to be upset. Around the first week of May in 2018, she called him asking him to arrest Doug in the courtroom in front of the judge at an upcoming hearing. He said, no, not going to do that. She started dramatically and hysterically crying, saying, if the judge sees you arrest him, that will help me keep my baby. He said no again. And she changed to an aggressive tone, saying, you will fucking arrest him in front of the judge and I'll make sure you do it. He said no again.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And he said she went back to the wailing and crying, saying, I can't believe you're willing to allow Doug to kill me and the baby. She let out a high-pitched screech, telling him, I'll do whatever it takes to keep my baby, you asshole. Her defense accused them of being on Doug's side because they liked him, like a good old boys network situation. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, every judge, cop, investigator, in South Carolina and Florida.
Yeah, because these are two states we're going through. Yeah, everybody.
Okay.
They're all against her.
Yeah, the entire system was letting her down.
We better like him or else.
They did try to reconcile a couple of times. So I know you asked about the no contact, but he has visitation now, so they have to have contact. So it's a little different. Yeah, I just thought of that.
Guess so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now Ashley will deny trying to reconcile with him, saying that she just went along with him to keep the peace. But then her and her mom inherited a house in Maryland, and all of them decided to move to Maryland, including Doug. Doug was going to keep living separate from them. He had lined up an apartment and a job there. They were going to share a U-Haul to get down there. Their next court date was set for September 30th of 2020. And there was a big misunderstanding as to if the psych evaluations were to be turned over to the court that day. Doug's lawyer said 100% they were. Ashley's lawyer said 100% they were not. The emails that they read in court between the lawyers and the judge's assistant were very clear that the doctor who did the evals had to be in court.
So why would he have to be there if he had nothing to do with it?
Exactly.
No, he wouldn't.
He wouldn't. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason this was so important is because they're using this date as a reason why what happened. That she didn't want to go to that court date. That she had prior diagnoses and she was concerned about losing the baby. But them saying the judge had, or the doctor had to be there is kind of a red flag that they're going to release those documents and he needs to explain them. I might be wrong, but texts between Doug and Ashley the week leading up to the murder show him tell her that they had a mediation meeting to get dismissals on all the cases except for the injunction and a final therapy session on Friday the 25th to finish up their adventures in Florida, as he put it. She loved that text and said that she would follow up on all of the above. So it looked like they were dropping everything and they were getting ready to move out of state. He sends her a Bible verse every morning. They exchange good mornings and good nights every day. There's lots of LOLs and heart emojis. They talk about what they're having for dinner. There's even a video they played in court the week before the murder where they're playing heads up at dinner. Like he's got the phone up to his head. So you see her and her mom playing heads up with him in like Panera or something. There were no arguments. There were no disagreements, but there were also no I love yous. I did notice that.
Heads up?
It's a game, so you could do it on your phone and it'll give that person, like this one was Real Housewives, and then you can't see what it is, but the other people have to give you hints so you guess it.
Yeah, so like it's a Real Housewives and you'd be like, well, it's a group of people, they all live in the, like it'd be like, we follow people as a documentary style, and it'd be like a whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. We'll play it sometime. It looks fun.
You're going to hate it.
He said, I'm good. Okay. Well, we're never playing Heads Up, guys. I'm sorry.
Not sponsored by Heads Up.
Sounds like there's going to be a whole bunch of lying going on.
Oh, yes. See, he's the one who'd be dirty. That's why your brain goes there. Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to play with you.
Mm-hmm.
This brings us to the day of the murder. So we're at September 27th of 2020. At 1 p.m., she asked him to stop at Lowe's on his way over to pick up more boxes and tape. While she said the date to move was not actually set yet, pretty much the whole house was packed up at this point. Very little was left in this house. He texted her at 3:54 that he was out front. And then he texted her that he was about to head back at 5:10. So he was there a couple of times that day. That means he came, dropped off the boxes and tape, and then left again and came back. The last text he sent to her was at 5:32 p.m. saying, trucker on the way. So when he gets there, Ashley says her mom and their daughter were leaving for the splash pad at the park.
So mom took the kid and left as soon as he got there.
As soon as he got there.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. They already had some heavier stuff in the open garage for him to load up into the U-Haul. She said she wanted her stuff to be loaded last so it could be unloaded first. But she put something in the truck and noticed that the boxes had been mixed up. Like her stuff is now mixed where his stuff is. She said the plan, or I guess I should say her plan, was to unload her and her mom's stuff first. And then Doug could take his stuff to his apartment and unload it himself, I guess. But he got upset. I'm sure she was making a big deal out of her stuff being in the wrong place. But that's me speculating based on past behavior. But she said she tried to de-escalate. She said she was tired and wanted to call it a day. He said he was her husband and he could stay the night if he wanted to. And she needed to start acting like a wife. She says that she tried changing the subject again, but he kept getting more and more mad. As they pass each other, he body checks her twice, almost knocking her over. So he's just ramming his shoulder into her. And then they pass each other in the hallway. She said he looked her straight in the eye as he rammed a box into her side. They argued in their daughter's room over this, I guess.
And mom's not back yet.
And mom, nope, they're still by themselves. She said she ran for the front door, but he grabbed her hand and pulled her back while he spun to where he was now blocking the door. She told him to leave, and he hit her on the left side of the head. So she motioned to the left side of her face like this, like he hit her. She
it's
didn't,
like not so much here
Tommy boy,
or here,
but
like
right here.
and here.
Yes. Yes. She did say that she didn't know if it was an open hand or a closed fist. So I don't know about that. She ran to her bedroom. Now, in the bedroom, there's a mattress and a broom leaned up against the wall, and there's a storage box on top of a laundry hamper. Inside was her gun.
Okay, of course there was. There are guns everywhere.
Of course.
Why wouldn't there be one in there?
We have nowhere to sleep.
Gosh, I'm surprised she didn't get her bra gun out.
It's like, oh, go into the bedroom. Oh, broom leaned up against the door. No, not fast enough.
No.
Oh, let's go to the box where the gun is. So I have to open the box and then get the gun, make sure it's loaded, and get out there. Protect myself.
That's another thing is I'm a little worried for why all these guns, like none of them have the safety on.
We're about to get into more.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So she grabs the gun and she hears the door behind her fling open and hit the doorstop. So she did have time to shut the door when she ran in. She said Doug was in the doorway, red-faced, eyes black, and veins bulging in his neck. He said, "You're fucking done." She held the gun in front of her and said, "Stop." He turned and got low. So he turned sideways and got low in a fighting stance like a ninja, she said, waving his arms and hands around. Now, she asked him, or the prosecutor would ask her to reenact it. Yes. And she was literally like this. I don't know, like this.
Like this thing?
Yeah. Yeah. It looked ridiculous.
Oh, no, but I know. You know, like jujitsu.
Domo.
Yes. So.
Domo.
Stop. Oh my God.
You mentioned jujitsu. Ava is actually a black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh,
so
okay.
they did do things like that. So, okay. So he's waving his hands and arms around. He's turned sideways in his fighting stance and crouched low, but then he lunges at her and she started pulling the trigger. He kept coming and she kept shooting until she saw his legs fly up in the air, like up. She said almost like he had slipped on something and his feet just came up. Yeah.
Was it blood?
Nope. No.
Oh my gosh.
He kept, like I said, she ran out of the house where she was seen by two people walking their dog. And I mention that because they heard the gunshots. And as they were backing away, like, we don't want to be there, they saw her run out of the house. And there was some speculation that she waited like 15 minutes or so to make sure he would die before she ran for help. So this couple was able to say, no, it was very quickly after the gunshots that we saw her run out. Like, it was very quickly. She ran to neighbor John's house and he called 911. I want to invite this man over for Christmas. He's the sweetest guy. In court, they said that this was at 6 p.m., but that would mean that all this happened in less than 30 minutes of him getting there. Everywhere else, it's reported as the 911 call was made at 7 p.m., which would give you like an hour and a half. John remembers her being hysterical, but not crying. But he said after hearing the 911 call now, she had to have been crying because of the noises he can hear her making in the background. And she had told him that Doug attacked her and she shot him, but she would not get on the phone to the 911 dispatcher herself at all.
Well, that's interesting.
One of the many things that can be taken in more than one way.
Yes, because even he's like, what's your phone number, honey? She will not answer. All you can hear is her gasping every once in a while for like some air.
What?
In the background, yeah. So sweet neighbor John says there's no visible marks on her. There's no blood. There's no rips or tears on her clothes. And the cops would later say basically the same thing. She was wearing a sports bra, shorts, and sneakers. Like, that's literally all she had on. Someone did give her a t-shirt because she had one on in the police videos when she's at the station. And it might have been that first lawyer of hers that showed up before she even got there. They did take pictures at the police station that night, and then they took more 3 days later to see if any bruises pop up, but there were none either time. She did have a couple of scratches on her right side and one on her right rib cage up by her bra line. She had the gun with her, so she took it to the neighbor's house with her, so they were able to get that right away. EMS got there and took Doug to the hospital, and he did pass away at the hospital. So he was, they don't really know how long he was actually alive in there, but nobody helped him until it was too late. Doug so the first shot went through his right leg and it went all the way through. The second shot grazed his right arm and entered the right side of his chest, just to the right of his right nipple. It entered and hit the fifth rib, then the right lung, the 10th vertebral body of the spine, then the left lung, the 10th rib, and it finally stopped in the tissue of his back.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. She was arrested on November 4th. Bond was set at $100,000. She bonded out after 2 weeks and was out on bond the whole time. All the cases between her and Doug were dismissed, of course. She did have a stand your ground trial in July of 2023 to see if she qualified for that, but she lost. She did not. So they went to trial July 23rd of 2024, and she was being tried for second-degree murder. So
almost 4 years later.
Yeah, they had a lot to get through before she could actually get to trial.
Yeah.
Now, she does have a horde of supporters. Lots of people back her. They protested the courthouse, including her 6-year-old daughter, who carried a sign saying, "Keep my mommy free." So some people say that the hyperbaric chamber and now the protesting could be considered child abuse. Now, that's not for me to decide, but that really raises a lot of eyebrows for people. So just throwing that out there. So there's a lot of questions that really can't be answered. Was that fighting stance him getting ready to attack, or was he holding his hands up in the universal sign for, oh, whoa, what you doing with that gun?
Yeah. Or
please don't shoot me.
Don't shoot me.
Yes,
please.
Exactly. Okay.
Unarmed.
Unarmed. Yes. So why would her mom leave her alone with a man who had allegedly been poisoning her and sexually abusing his daughter?
Exactly.
That's another thing. I'll be damned if I leave you alone with somebody I know is trying to hurt you. Police, here you go, Haley. Police found a loaded gun in her backpack that she used as a purse. They found another loaded gun in a basket in the pantry on the shelf in the kitchen next to the peanut butter. So why was the majority of the house packed up, but you still have 3 loaded guns scattered throughout your house?
So that she could be prepared if she was making a sandwich.
So this was before they. So this was before they even went to Maryland.
Yeah, they haven't left. They're literally packing up to go.
I was like, man, what a way to meet the new neighbors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Also,
Wow.
that's another thing. If I hear gunshots and then were they in their house or were they walking their dog?
They were walking there. So they actually lived a couple of streets over and they were walking their dog.
I would be very wary of the person with the gun.
They were. The woman was like, I don't know what's coming next, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to like it. So I'm trying to get out. Yeah, she was not trying to stick around. Okay, another question. If they had an altercation at the front door, remember he grabbed her hand, jerked her back, spun himself around. Why did neither of them have the other's DNA anywhere on them? There was no
True.
DNA.
Yeah, true.
He also had no stippling or gunshot residue on him. So that means that the gunshot came from several feet away or further.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the whole thing is like he's military,
He is.
so he is
of family
trained.
like
So
that.
he's trained for close combat.
And they talk about that in trial. Mm-hmm.
So, she knows that.
She does 100%.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
she knows that she needs to get her shots off
From a distance.
way before he gets to her.
Quick.
Because he knows how to disarm and
Yes.
de-escalate
Yes.
a lot better than she does.
I'm glad you said that. Yep.
Okay. So,
Her first husband was also a Marine. So it's not like she's never been
what happened to
around.
him?
Oh, they just got divorced because she.
Oh, shit! Thank God.
Yeah. No.
She's like the
Dad's
Black
like,
Widow.
where is he?
No.
She's like the Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that popped up that raised questions for me was she never gave a statement to the police or anyone. When I said she didn't talk to the 911 operator, she did not talk to anybody. From that point on,
And her lawyer was on the scene before
she had
before she had gotten to the station.
Yes.
Okay.
She had 2 lawyers show up for her that night. One was already there, and then one got there right after.
Interesting.
Yes. We'll talk more about that in a second, too. And here's the number one issue. If you're in a fighting stance, get in your fighting stance, lady. You're about to hurt me. And I'm over
Oh, wait,
here.
I don't have guns.
I'm the microphone, okay? And you're going to attack me.
She's like,
If I shoot you, where's that bullet going? Is it going to come from the side here?
No, it's gonna be like.
Did you hear my trajectory of how it went through both of his lungs?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was almost a completely horizontal shot through his side.
I don't like this game.
so he was walking through.
The theory, a
Could've been.
lot of people speculate that she just literally waited
For him to walk through and then he shot.
and then she just shot him.
Yeah.
He was in the bedroom, so she had to get him into the bedroom somehow, but I'm sure she had her ways.
Did
I imagine she was probably in the closet and she was waiting for him to come walking past the closet and she shot him.
Some people say there was still a box in the closet and she had asked him to go get that box.
that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yes. So that is another theory. Yes. Now, she did tell this story of how this went down in court, like I said, on the stand, and she cried. I mean, she let it out to the point where they had to excuse the jury so that she could collect herself. There were no tears. There was no snot, no red nose, no red eyes. She never wiped her face the entire time she sat there until the jury was out of the room and the judge says, there's tissues right there. And that's when she finally took a tissue. I looked at the time when the last juror went out and the door closed and compared it to when the lawyer said they could bring the jury back in. It was about 54 seconds.
Wow, she gathered herself very quickly.
Yes. So I'm thinking that was a tactic.
54 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all I need for a breakdown.
The door barely, it probably wasn't even shut. That dude's foot was probably still going out the door. And they're
Yep.
like, you can come back. You're good.
Oh, hang on. She's done.
Yeah, she's good.
We checked.
Now, when the prosecutor crossed, she made, like I said, she made Ashley get off the stand and completely reenact this. How were you standing? How was he standing? point the gun. How are you holding the gun? And every time she points the gun, it's down. You can Google pictures and it's down every time, all the way down, all the way down. And they're like, that's how you were holding the gun. She's like, yes, this is how I was holding the gun.
Oh, gosh.
So I could see the leg shot, but how do you get shot through the chest? Because she was aiming low.
She was on top of the laundry hamper.
She might have been. She might have been. Now,
That's
looking.
so weird.
Yeah. And like I said, she reenacted Doug's ninja stance and it looked like a bad video game character. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Because they were like, were his hands and fists? And she's like, no, they were like this. So I was like, okay.
So weird.
Yeah. That's weird. Let's see.
The jury was honestly probably just trying to figure out like what the hell they were watching, like
Kind of like we
what
are.
they were looking at.
Kind of
Oh
like
my
we are.
gosh.
Well, I mean, that's how I imagined it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. That's what it looked like.
Error.
Yeah, literally.
Yes. My hair. Okay. Now, when I was listening to audio clips from the night of the murder, I want you to listen to this very closely. There is one where an officer is talking to her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom has that second lawyer I was talking about on speakerphone. That lawyer tells the cop that they had an escape plan in place to get Ashley to safety. Burner phones, a safe house, the whole nine. And when was this supposed to happen? The next day.
Okay.
Let it sink in.
I'm letting it sink in because that's weird.
Let it sink in. It's because she's so abused. So let it sink in.
And her mom left her alone.
Yes.
Okay, so she's letting him come in and out of
Yes.
a gated community as he pleases because,
Mm-hmm.
like we said, mom's not there.
Well, plus he's been coming in and out helping him pack for a week.
Exactly. So it's just whenever he wants.
When he wants.
And
Yeah.
they even ask him to, or well, like she would ask him to like bring her stuff on his way over.
Boxes, tape, chai tea, bagels.
So she's not afraid to be alone with him.
Obviously. Yep.
But at the same time, she's planning a whole escape to a safe house for protection from him.
Yeah.
Because he's so dangerous.
Because he's so dangerous.
Okay.
Yep.
No, it's not good. We're good.
Glad you got there.
See, my thoughts were is that she had convinced him that they was going to get back together. They found an apartment in Maryland, and so he went ahead and got it and everything. And that's why his stuff was in the moving van. And
Yeah.
That's why it didn't matter if their stuff was mixed up because it's all going to the same place.
exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Well, his thoughts were probably was that they was going to take her mom to the inherited house,
Mhm.
and then they was going to move into the apartment.
Right. That's a good theory. Good
That's
theory.
a damn good theory. What the hell are you talking about?
That's a damn good theory. Good job.
I think the mom has a lot to do with this too.
I think there's no
As
way
far
she
as
doesn't, to be
like
honest
planning
with
it out and stuff like this. I mean, what's the background on the mama?
There's not a lot of background on the mama except she's a single mom.
Oh yeah.
Ashley was an only child.
you. Okay.
What happened to the
I don't know
dads?
anything about the dad. Yeah, I don't know anything about the dad. But I will say, if I have to watch that heads up video of them in the restaurant one more time and watch her mom open mouth chew,
Oh, gosh.
she's that person.
Oh, my gosh. She's a monster.
She's that person.
Someone, please.
I was so over it. I was done. Anyways, none of this was brought up in court. The part about them having a safe plan and
Yeah.
getting her, none of that was brought up in court because it wasn't a DV case. It wasn't it wasn't about that. It was about that night and what happened. And so there were certain things they couldn't bring in, and certain things did weasel their way in because of her lawyer. Now, it also didn't come out that she had been married before. Remember, we mentioned that at the beginning. I told y'all she was married. The marriage ended because she had an affair. And he said that she was impulsive and self-inflated, constantly searching for self-importance and needed someone to validate her. But he also mentions that she had slapped him before. Ashley did admit on the stand that Doug had never hit, kicked, choked her, or used a weapon against her. He wasn't really a physically violent person. He was an emotionally violent person. He was, what do you call that? Coercive Like he would manipulate situations. So the way she describes the violence was through that, through his throwing things, through his stuff like his manipulations, like I said. But she seems like we have a little history here where she has been physically violent against a significant other, but they weren't allowed to talk about that in court.
Interesting.
All right, we're at the end, guys. I promise. She had a 6-person jury, and that was made up of 5 women and 1 man. So they really, really picked that one good. They ended up finding her guilty of manslaughter. So they gave her, instead of second-degree murder, they went for a lesser charge of manslaughter. Some say that this is not right because she was legit fearing for her life and that the shooting was justified. Some say that this is not right because she obviously set him up, had guns planted all over the house, made sure they were alone. So they say, no, this is premeditation and it should have been first-degree murder.
Do you have life insurance?
Good question.
He stopped paying it 3 months before he was shot.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Ava said that.
I bet she didn't even know that.
Oh, she probably didn't. Yeah. She probably didn't because they didn't live together. And that's another theory. So another theory, would be that she was setting him up so that her and the baby would be taken care of. And then he's out of the picture. So she don't have to share custody or nothing.
So.
But it didn't work out that way.
I think that she had more escape plans than one.
Oh,
with
yeah.
all those guns planted around the house. To be honest with you, it wasn't just a safe house. It was 3 guns scattered across. Okay, one by the peanut butter. That's the one that bugs me.
It's literally on the shelf in the pantry. Just in a basket. You like
weird.
your baskets.
So I'm hungry. I'm going to grab something before we go.
I love my baskets, but they're not gun holders.
Hers was. Maybe you're just not doing it right.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I don't organize correctly.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? You're the problem. When they found her guilty, she was put in handcuffs right away. Because remember, all this time, she's been living her life. And she's been going home every day after court. She's been hanging out with her daughter. And now she's going to jail. When they put them handcuffs on her, she walked so fast that the cops couldn't keep up with her to get out of that room. And I don't know if it was because she was pissed off.
Embarrassed?
She's big mad.
I didn't know. She didn't want to. So when she was on the stand, Eva's eyes were like laser focused on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe she don't want to look at Eva's eyes because, woo.
She might have been trying to walk out as fast as she could so you couldn't get very many pictures of her in handcuffs.
Oh, that's true too. She's very big.
Go Eva for the...
Oh, I liked that. Yeah. I was watching the whole time like, hey, give it to her.
Yeah.
Now, Sarah Boone was sentenced on December 2nd of 2024, and Ashley was sentenced the next day on December 3rd. She got 20 years in prison, followed by a 20-year probation area where she has to go see a therapist or a psychologist. She has to be evaluated again. And the prosecutors made sure that the judge put in the order that she cannot be...
Is it 20-year probation or 10-year probation?
10, did I say 20?
I think so.
It's a 20-year prison term with 10 years probation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that didn't make any sense to be 20 and 20.
Yeah, 20 and 20. Let's just
Serve
double
your
them
time.
She
either way, she should be in there for longer.
I agree.
I agree
what she
too.
did.
I agree.
Did she cry when she didn't win?
Oh, not even a little bit. Not even. She didn't even pretend.
She's like, Mom, it didn't work.
Yeah. She did not even try. But
Can I get my guns back?
Oh, God.
They did take her. They remanded her guns.
Yep.
They kept them. But yeah, so that was it. I know that was a longer one. Thanks for putting up with us.
And they did say that they have recently moved, not to get off Sarah Boone, to another facility, a sorting facility, to get her moved to where the hell she's going for good.
She's getting her Harry Potter hat put on, and they're going to find out where she's going.
Yeah.
She's going to see what
sorting hat.
She's going to see if she belongs to Slytherin.
Azkaban for you.
Yeah, lady. Anyways, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Haley, thanks for saying.
Yeah.
Anytime.
And if you guys do want to be a contributor to help us out with stuff like this, and
listen, CashApp is still doing their cash tag thing. So if you do go to CashApp, it's danda.truecrime@gmail.com.
Nope, not that one.
Spell it out, AND. Okay, D&A.
Right here. There it is.
You got it on the screen?
I got it on the screen.
Yes. Okay, so you'll probably have to use that.
So
I had a tough
use
time finding it myself.
You'll use the Gmail to find us.
Yes.
And everything. So.
Oh, okay.
We'll get them figured out.
But yeah, if you guys want to contribute, it'd be really appreciated.
100%. I've said that a million times.
And if you guys want to be a sponsor on our show,
hey, hit us up.
Hit us up.
You can also email us at that email address.
You can email us there, and we will be happy to talk to you guys and
it works
see what we can do.
Yeah.
But other than that, is there anything else?
I think we're good. Hope y'all had a happy new year. This is our first recording of the new year, so we look forward to the whole year. Dang it.
You might see them, you might not.
What?
These guns.
Her finger guns.
Oh. All right. Well, make sure you guys go and check us out on all the platforms. I got them posted up here on the Facebook. You guys can't see them. Go check us out.
Bye.
Till next time.
Bye.